There are three things that Tony Stark is known for: being really smart, being really rich, and being a bit of a playboy. Hey everybody, I'm Josh Busker, and today we're gonna be counting down the top 10 Iron Man love interests. Coming in at number 10, we have a bit of an honorable mention with Maya Hansen from the MCU film Iron Man 3. A genetic scientist who helped create the Extremis virus, Maya doesn't really get a lot to do in the actual movie we got to see, mainly being a former fling of Tony's who is helping the main villain, tries to have a change of heart, but then gets awkwardly killed for her efforts by Aldrich Killian. In the original script of the movie, however, Maya was initially intended to be the main villain and the mastermind behind Extremis, a former flame of Tony Stark's that had developed the technology specifically to destroy him. And while the actual movie cut down her role considerably and changed her character's fate, she still gets an honorable mention for the villainous love interest she almost was. Coming in at number 9, we have Joanna Nivenna, the very first fiancée of Tony Stark. Revealed in a flashback storyline during the 1980s, Joanna was a young woman engaged to Tony Stark when he first began to act as the superhero Iron Man. Unaware of his secret double life, Joanna at first was pushed away by Tony's odd behavior and assumed him to be cheating until he finally told her the truth about his identity as Iron Man. And while for a time Joanna would encourage Tony to keep being a hero, she would eventually come to realize that he couldn't be both a superhero and a good husband to her, and so eventually broke off their engagement and hasn't been mentioned in the Marvel Universe ever since. Coming in at number 8, we have Kathy Dare. Tony's had his fair share of bad relationships over the years, but few have ended as poorly as his romance with Kathleen Dare, a woman who took Tony's playboy ways incredibly personally and would eventually get back at Tony by shooting him in the chest. Paralyzed from this attack and suffering from severe nerve damage, Tony decided to stop his own heart so that he'd be placed into cryostasis until a solution could be found to his nerve damage. Unfortunately, Tony didn't tell many people what his plan was, causing many of his friends to believe he had died for good, and with Kathy becoming extremely grief-stricken after thinking she had killed her ex-boyfriend in a pretty dark ending to a pretty dark storyline. Coming in at number 7, we have the villainous Madame Masque. Daughter of another Iron Man villain known as Count Nefaria, Masque first met Tony Stark while undercover at Stark Industries under the name of Chrissy Longfellow. Becoming so romantically involved that they purchased a penthouse apartment together, things seemed great for Tony and Chrissy until her true identity was finally revealed and Iron Man accidentally destroyed the machine that was keeping her father alive, even if he would later reappear down the road. Furious at this turn of events, Madame Masque embraced her true scarred visage and left Tony for good, committing herself to becoming a criminal mastermind and becoming yet another member of Iron Man's Rogues Gallery. Coming in at number 6, we have Indries Moomji. Before he was one of the most beloved superheroes on the planet due to the popularity of the Iron Man movies, one of the most well-known traits of Tony Stark that has since been dropped is the character's struggles with being an alcoholic, and Indries is a character directly connected to that major storyline. Hired by the villainous Obadiah Stane, Indries posed as a bystander rescued by Iron Man and seduced Tony using pheromone chemicals along with her natural charms. Indries was ruthless and continually pushed Tony to relying on alcohol, and then eventually broke his heart at Stane's command, leaving Tony Stark at rock bottom and his drinking problems worse than ever, making this romance one of pure tragedy. Coming in at number 5, we have Bethany Cabe. Another woman who met Tony during his heavy drinking phase, Bethany was assigned to Tony Stark's security team shortly after the death of her husband, and eventually found some comfort in the invincible Iron Man's arms. While Tony's drinking was a major issue in their relationship for a while, she would be an essential part in the process of helping him sober up. Unfortunately, their romance was not meant to last, as Bethany would eventually discover her husband was secretly alive, and after rescuing him from his circumstances, left Tony to be with the man she was meant to be with. Better luck next time, Stark. Coming in at number 4, we have Janet Van Dyne, aka The Wasp. Dating a coworker always comes with complications, and both Iron Man and the Wasp found out that lesson the hard way. After her marriage to Hank Pym, the original Ant-Man, fell apart, Janet found herself rebounding with Tony Stark. while being unaware that he was actually Iron Man, aka the co-founder of the Avengers team along with her and Hank. Even Captain America tried to warn Tony that their relationship was doomed for disaster, but it took Janet finding out for herself that Iron Man and Tony Stark are one and the same to put an end to their romance, even if they'd share a few more flirty moments in the future once she was properly divorced from Hank Pym. Coming in at number 3, we have Natasha Romanov, aka the Black Widow. If I had a nickel for every time Tony Stark was romanced by an undercover agent within his own company, we'd probably have more nickels than you'd expect. Initially falling for Natasha while she was still a spy for the Russian government, their romance initially ended once Tony found out about the whole secret agent for an enemy power thing. However, the two were surprised to find their destinies intertwined when they both were early members of the Avengers team, now fighting for the same side. And while they initially seemed ready to try their romance again, the two have since decided to remain friends and allies, and determined the fate of the planet is probably more important than their office flirting. Coming in at number 2, we have Jennifer Walters, aka the Incredible She-Hulk. Most of the relationships I've listed in this video have either ended tragically or at the very least caused a lot of drama in Tony's life. That said, it's a nice change of pace that Tony was able to enjoy a more fun and casual relationship with someone who viewed things the same way that he did, which is exactly why Iron Man and She-Hulk made such a great pair. Never afraid to call Tony out for the double standard of how their casual love lives were talked about, Jennifer and Tony had great chemistry, and when it comes to the comic books, might be my favorite pairing for Iron Man. But if you really pushed me on my favorite Iron Man romance overall, well, coming in at our top spot, we have Pepper Potts from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Pepper is a great character in the Marvel comics as well, but my favorite interpretation of this duo's relationship has to be between Robert Downey Jr.'s Tony Stark and Gwyneth Paltrow's Pepper Potts. Capable of running Stark Industries while Tony is saving the world and battling his own inner demons, Pepper is the counterbalance Tony needs to stop himself from going overboard. And watching their arc of their relationship over the course of the entire MCU is one of the best running plot threads throughout the entire Infinity Saga. And who knows, there might not even be an MCU if the dynamic between Tony and Pepper wasn't so intriguing in the very first movie. And for that reason, I've got to say that she's the very best. That's all the time we have for today's list, everyone, but thank you all so much for watching. As always, I've been Josh Busker, and I'll see you all next time, Nerd Squad.